What's up, y'all? T-Bob here from Snaps, daily college football show that I hope you really enjoy. And I've been getting a lot of crap on my show lately about, choosing Alabama over Texas. You know what I didn't do, though? I didn't bet on him. You know who I did bet on? Kansas, okay? And I did it on the DraftKings Sportsbook app because when it comes on where I like to gamble, I love the DraftKings app. And it's because they got incredible offers. If you're already a DraftKings customer, well, check this out. Every single NFL game day during September, you're not going to have just one, but two new offers waiting on you when you sign in. So you'll have to sign in to see exactly what those offers are. But just remember, Thursday, Sunday, Monday, every NFL game day, all customers getting two exciting offers from DraftKings to play with. It's a ton of fun. But what if you're a new customer? Well, I've got an even better deal for you. You use the promo code T-Bob when you sign up, okay? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, promo code T-Bob, T-B-O-B. You bet $5 on any NFL game, you get $200 instantly in bonus bets. That's right. Put $5 down on any of the games. Don't even have to win. You get $200 instantly in bonus bets. You can go play with those on college football, NFL, whatever you want. You can play with those. That's some of those incredible deals you get. So you see it. There's not a more fun place to get in on the action than DraftKings. And you can do all your same game parlays, multi-game parlays, whatever you want. So download the app now. Sign up with the promo code T-Bob, T-B-O-B, $5 gives you $200 in bonus bets instantly. And for returning customers, remember every NFL game day, two exciting new offers from your official sports betting partner of the NFL, DraftKings. The crown is yours. Yo, what's going on, YouTube? What's happening, man? Pumped to be back here at YouTube Live, youtube.com/@VolumeSnaps. Remember, our Monday shows, we are always going to do live for our recaps because we love hearing from you. Shout out Thomas, Jason Sunday, Michael DiVincenzi, Bobby Hotep in the chat already. Massive thank you off the bat to everyone for getting us to 5K subscribers. We love to see it. And even better, the numbers on the views are better than you should have for 5K subscribers. So that means y'all are sharing it with your friends, texting your friends about it. We love to see it. Thank you for helping to please the algorithmic gods that rule our existence. SW2205 has a question on Alabama. Don't worry, we're going to talk Alabama to start this, SW. So I'm gonna copy this. I'm going to put it in our chat, in my document, and we can get to it in a bit. I am T-Bob Hebert, one of your hosts, joined as always by QB1, Aaron Murray. Aaron, what's up, dog?
What's up? Happy Monday. Always love being on YouTube Live. Like T-Bob said, come hang out with us every Monday, and let's keep growing. 10K next, G. Can we get to 10K in 5 weeks?
However long, that would be awesome. I don't know what our goal is. I'm just glad that everybody seems to be enjoying the show because me and Aaron talk about it all the time. We love doing snaps. It's the most fun part of our day. And it's just fucking awesome because we love college football. And college football is absurd and fun to talk about. And you get situations like I still can't get over the mythological 98-yard drive with the mountains of Boulder, Colorado in the background, the bright lights, the rock on the, superstars all over the sideline. And that man, Deion Sanders, stares down 98. And not only gets that, but then gets a 2-point conversion. And I know I'm jumping ahead here, but Jay Norvell, what the fuck? How do you talk all this shit and you have the chance for a 2-point conversion to end the game and you kick an extra point? I forgot to mention it on Monday. I think Deion made a very bad choice taking, the ball first in overtime because, I get it. He has confidence in the offense, but ultimately, I don't want to ever be in a situation where I don't have the initiative. And if a team has a 2-point conversion to win the game, you've handed over initiative, right? So whatever. Jay Norvell, for all that talk, you got no balls, unfortunately, at the end of the day. No balls. Okay, sorry. I had to get that off my chest because I forgot to mention it yesterday. What's up, Mike Prima, Charlie Shepard, Shadow Bearded, Cody Brunet, everybody else hanging out in here. Cody saying UGA should have fallen number 2. They ain't the best team in the country. We'll get there as well. All right, Aaron. Let's dive straight in. In case you missed it, we are here. Well, this whole week of college football is going to be a celebration because the weekend slate looks incredible. One of the really good games coming up is going to be Ole Miss going to T-Town to take on Alabama, and it comes off a weekend where Alabama looks as weak as they have ever looked in the Saban era. And Ole Miss actually has maybe like the best resume in the SEC. I mean, it sounds weird to say, but I mean, you kind of look around at who they beat and you're kind of like, okay, yeah, I think so. And so Sunday night, then you sent a text and said, this has to be fake, right? And I kind of felt like, yeah, maybe so, right? There was a tweet from On3. Apparently, Lane Kiffin talked on 3, and he is claiming that Alabama has made a secret defensive coordinator switch. And excuse me, there's a lot of setup to this story, so I apologize. But quote, it's what he told on 3. Quote, we've been against, and he's talking about Kevin Steele here, and he's talking about Travaris Robinson. Okay, Kevin Steele's the DC. Travaris Robinson is the secondaries coach. He says, we've been against Kevin a number of times, worked with him at Alabama and against him at Auburn and LSU. There seems like there's been a change there. I don't know what happened after the Texas game, but our guys watching the TV copy and schematically in this last game certainly seems like T-Rob's now calling the defense. We played him before at South Carolina, so we are preparing accordingly for him to call the defense. He's done such a good job, too, and they've got really good players. That last little trolley flourish there of the, and he's done great. They have good players. I love that. But, Aaron, I've been trying to think about it. I've got some ideas, but in your mind, what is Lane Kiffin? And by the way, then he wakes up at 6:33 this morning after the Bama Sports Illustrated fan site has picked this up, and he tweets out the Bama fan site's article at 6:33 with the headline, did Alabama football change its defensive play caller? Lane Kiffin seems to think so. So
I'm excited to see Saban's response to this. I'm sure he's going to be asked a million questions today whenever he does his press conference. So we'll get some more clarification soon. I think this is Lane just being Lane. I really do. Like, it is hard for me to fathom that Kevin Steele, 3 games into the season, or at least what I guess at the time would be 2 games into the season, would have been essentially taken away the ownership of this defense from that staff. I don't buy into it. I really don't. So maybe there's a meeting of the minds in that staff room, and they've said, hey, this is what our defense can be. This is what it was in week 1. This is what we can adjust to. And maybe you're just seeing really good defensive minds come together. But Kevin Steele's calling the plays. There's no doubt in my mind that they're
okay. So you think this is Lane pure trolling then?
Pure trolling Lane.
Okay.
Which I understand the reasoning why, but Lane being Lane.
Well,
Lane,
okay. So that's where it gets interesting though. If you think it's pure trolling, why? Right? Because if you want to say like, okay, is this someone like, have you ever played rock, paper, scissors with someone and they're like, I'm throwing rock. And then you're like, okay, they said they're throwing rock. So they want me to think that they're throwing rock, but then obviously they're not going to throw rock if they just told me they're going to throw rock. But if I'm the one that originally said it, I know that you're thinking that, so I am going to throw rock, right? So it's like you could drive yourself crazy about that. What this does prove, though, again, I don't know why he said it. What I do think it does show, though, is like you said, I do know for a fact this is Lane Kiffin just wanting to fuck with Nick Saban and force Nick Saban to have to answer a bunch of bullshit questions about this today, and it's going to piss Nick off. But that's the crazy thing to me, that pissing Nick off, because that shows a lack of respect. And Lane has many times through the last couple of years gotten mad at the media for poking the proverbial Saban bear. Oh, great, y'all are doubting him, so now he's going to go off, blah, blah, blah. Well, here Lane is doing the exact same thing. Like, we already know that Nick Saban wants to bury Lane Kiffin. Now he wants to bury him even more. Lane only does this. You know why? He's not afraid. Lane Kiffin legitimately thinks Ole Miss is going to go into Tuscaloosa and win.
But is anyone afraid of Alabama right now? Like, if you just take the A away, which I know this is hard for a lot of people, and which is hard for people this offseason to kind of like look at this team and not realize that they're not going to be a national championship contender because it's the Alabama Crimson Tide and it's Nick Saban. But when you look at the roster, and if you just watch the film, like if it was black and white and you had no idea what you were watching, brand wise, that's a bad football team we've seen for the first 3 weeks of the season. It's a bad football team. They didn't look good versus Texas. They lose that game at home, and it was embarrassing what they put on film against USF. I mean, to me, it looked like a team that was almost at times disinterested in playing the game. Yeah. There was no heart. There was no juice. I've never seen Alabama under Nick Saban everything's perfect. Like there's been bad games in Nick Saban's past, no doubt about it. But I've never seen a team play that was that disinterested with a lack of energy, any sort of juice, like none of that. They look like they're going through the motions. They look like they didn't care. I've never seen it before, man. I don't know if it's a quarterback issue that's throwing everyone for a loop.
Well, that definitely hurts. That doesn't help because you can speak to this, and it was a little different in our day where we were a little more like you could still be like, I'm going to run the ball and be great. But like a bad quarterback can drag down the morale of an entire team. If you don't think you have that guy back there, it can kind of take down and hurt.
But this is Nick Saban. This is Nick Saban. Like I heard someone, I think there was this morning say on another show, that the team rallied behind Milroe and the team was, kind of pissed off that Milroe wasn't the starter. So, there was a lack of energy on the field from that. You can't tell me that there isn't such a respect for Nick Saban that when Nick Saban makes a decision of who's going to play a certain position, especially the quarterback position, that those guys in that locker room don't say, "Oh, hey, coach, I trust you because you're the greatest coach of all time. If you say so-and-so is going to be our quarterback, then we're going to go out there and execute at a high level." Like you truly think that there was guys in the locker room kind of huddling up saying, "What the hell's Nick doing?" Like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely. Because look at what we saw Saturday.
And you think
Simpson and
I just think it's a bad team. I just think it's a bad team.
No, but what I'm saying is like I could, and by the way, Milroe, our excellent producer Ryan Brumman last night in the chat, Jalen Milroe announced as the starter. So yeah, that is kind of what I'm saying, Aaron, is that I could see people getting mad. Milroe's probably like, well, like Milroe has been objectively.
They're not competing though.
No, but I'm saying
they were not competing.
No, but like, what if you think Tommy Rees is a slapdick? Like, we don't know what they think in that building. Like, what if the offensive players do whisper to each other, like, "Oh my God, dude, you're coming off of having Steve Sarkisian, you're coming off of having Bill O'Brien, and then you got this young cat, and maybe he doesn't know what he's doing. He feels like he's over his head." And then all of a sudden, they're like, "Wait, we're gonna start Buckner? We watch him in practice every day. He can't do half of what Jalen Milroe does." And I said it yesterday. I mean, it reeked of desperation at the time, and if it smelled that way, it's because it was desperate. And now Jalen Milroe starting again shows you how desperate it was. Like Jalen Milroe was clearly the best option. They just felt like, well, I guess we have to try something because, well, maybe Milroe's going to be limiting. Like I am far more afraid of Alabama with Jalen Milroe than I am with either Tyler Buckner or Ty Simpson. Like you said yesterday on yesterday's show.
Well, definitely Buckner.
Buckner, get out of here.
Buckner Notre Dame started majority of Power 5 schools. He did it. I mean, it's shame on Tommy Rees once again. We said this the other day. Shame on Tommy Rees for bringing him to Alabama and putting Nick Saban
unbelievable
in the Alabama fan base.
Notre Dame. Shout out Paul Farrington, our old producer, Paulie Walnuts. His Notre Dame Fighting Irish have pulled a CIA level deep state takedown of the Alabama football program. Somehow, like the one thing that kind of
stealing reps in practice for that. You wasted reps on that kid.
The one thing that sucked from last year's Notre Dame team was the offense. Like the defense was actually pretty frisky.
Yeah.
And then getting credit for maybe starting to run the ball, but Cody Brunet feels like Saban isn't in control and Tom Rees brought his QB with him, then started him after a loss. I mean, no, let's be clear. Rees is not making that decision, but it still reeks of desperation. All right, let's get into some of these other comments.
So you're feeling like, to me, talking with you, that we're going to see a more energized Alabama team. Like the fact that they were so lethargic wasn't the fact that they were in playing against South Florida in Tampa, which is just
that's odd to begin with. That's very
odd.
Feeling
it was raining.
Hot,
the weather was
humid.
crappy, humid. It's South Florida. Like it wasn't that reason. It was this team is pissed off because we believe Jalen Milroe should be the quarterback.
No, it's all of those.
Or is it just not a good football team? Or is it just not a good football team?
Once again, the answer is D, all of the above. It's a lesser football team with an offensive line that just that seem bad and seem soft, quite frankly. They don't have a quarterback, and they're playing in South Florida in the fucking rain in Tampa. Like, what are we talking about? Like, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Oh, and the quarterback thing, but I'm going to go out on a limb here, Aaron, and say that this weekend in T-Town against Ole Miss, you're probably going to get a more locked-in team, right? Like, I don't think they're going to look as bad. Now, I do think it's crazy that Ole Miss they're not the gambling favorite, and maybe we should read into that more, but it does feel like Ole Miss potentially should be the pick here. And that's and even Lane's trolling kind of speaks to that
You
confidence.
can't lose
And
2
that's
games
wild
back
to
to
me.
back in Tuscaloosa. There's no way, right?
No, and not with
Right?
assistants, and not with former Saban assistants doing it. Never happened. What if it happened twice in a row? I mean, Jackson Dart's the highest rated quarterback in the SEC right now.
Well, let's go position by position in this game right now. I would say better quarterback, Ole Miss, better running back, Ole Miss, better skill players, Ole Miss, better offensive line. Ole Miss is probably playing better at the offensive line position. Alabama's defense is elite, and
yeah,
Junkins has been banged up. Junkins has been banged up. He's been banged up. He was kind of questionable if he was going to play this past weekend for Georgia Tech. If he's healthy and 100% or close to 100%, there's no question he's one of the best running backs in the country. It's a far superior offense right now with skill, and especially the quarterback spot.
How do we feel about Ole Miss
still the
defense?
Question marks? I think it's better. And don't forget that their DC is why am I drawing a blank right now? Former DC for Alabama.
Oh,
he knows the personnel. Pete Golding. He knows the personnel a little bit.
True.
He's got a good temperature of that football team. So,
True.
The reverse of that is obviously Saban knows what he's trying to do on that side of the football defensively for Ole Miss. I would say Ole Miss's defense is improved. Alabama's defense is top 10 in the country. So it's going to be a low-scoring game. I'll tell you that. It is going to be low-scoring there in Tuscaloosa.
Tom Green in the chat says Ole Miss 37, Bama 3. Shout out Tom Green. I was a big fan of you growing up. The only thing that could be funnier now, Tom just made me think of this, if Lane wins this weekend and then does like my bum is on your lips. My bum is on your lips. But it's like Lane Kiffin's ass on Nick Saban's lips. That would be mwah. That'd be perfect. All right, let's get into some comments here. SW2205 says, question on Alabama. Do you guys find it odd that Tom Reese came over to run the Alabama offense and not his own offense? A lot was made out of that.
Yeah. I would say you go to, right now your best quarterback is a superior runner compared to a thrower. You have to incorporate his legs more. They should have done it more versus Texas. Obviously, I don't know why he didn't have some kind of role versus USF. You would think too in a rainy game, which is kind of suspicious, that you wouldn't put a quarterback out there that has legs the way that Jalen can just run the football. So I don't know if there's some other issues going on where maybe he was in the bad graces of the coaching staff heading into that game. But I think you have to adjust to personnel. And right now you have an offensive line that's soft in the pass game. They're big guys that can at least get in the way, hopefully, and create some running lanes. I still think you have above average receiving play, not excellent, and you have a running quarterback. So, run zone read, run RPO. That's all Alabama can do right now. That is the extent of what their offense is going to be this season. And then every now and then take some shots.
And again, it should have been. I feel like they should be better still, even if that was their limitations. Except that the offensive line is bad, and that's fucking everything up. Rhett Proctor, the $5 super chat. We'll do this. It's not on topic, but $5 super chat. Thank you, Rhett. I get that Carson Beck is the starter, but man, Gunnar Stockton should get some more reps. Dude is a beast in high school. He's got some wheels. Yes.
We'll
get to Georgia's offense, but continue.
You want me to answer real quick? Yeah.
Yes.
I remember I had Georgia week 1, and I sat down with Kirby and Bobo, and we knew that Carson was going to be the starting quarterback. And I was like, all right, who's going to be 2? Because this is probably going to be blowout. Who's coming in next? And they're like, honestly, like it could be Brock, it could be Gunnar. Like Gunnar's really impressed us through fall camp. So that's going to be an interesting battle next year. They just kept saying over and over again how much of a playmaker he is. Like when things break down, Gunnar's making plays. Gunnar is the strongest arm in the quarterback room. I just don't think he knows the offense as well as the other two, especially Carson, to where they feel like they can go on there and essentially put together a full game plan. Now that he's not talented, I think he's a really high chance of being QB1 next year. And I think Carson, I know T-Bob will give me shit about this. I think Carson's played just really well to start the season. Not super sexy, but he's played well.
Yes. Yep. I mean, how old is Gunnar Stockton?
Here we go.
How old is Gunnar Stockton?
Probably 19, 20. I don't know.
Okay, exactly. Mike Bobo's offense is so old, you have to at least be like 22 to 23 to run it effectively. That's why Carson Beck was the clear choice.
Well, someone asked this in the chat too. Was it Ox in the shop? Is UJ running UJ's offense or Bobo's? This is the Monken offense. This is more Monken than Bobo offense.
Wow.
You could tell.
Would have fooled me.
Unbelievable.
I don't know, dude. You know, but don't be down 14-3.5. I don't know what to tell you. You want to be the number one team in the country. Alex B.
One possession in the first quarter, 4 possessions in the first half.
Life after Saban. I think Lanning would be a home run hire for Bama whenever Saban hangs him up. My friend thinks he wouldn't leave Oregon for Bama. Your thoughts?
Hell yeah, you would.
I think he would. I think that kind of sucks because why does Oregon always get their good coaches poached? I mean, like, does anybody ever just want to stay in Eugene? But also, let's all pump the brakes. Like, I don't know that Saban's going to walk off on a miss. You know what I mean? It's very hard. I know Juniper looks awesome, and he bought the $20 million house, and I'd be out that bitch ezy.
Is it like, Juniper or Jupiter?
I don't know. I keep saying Juniper. I've probably said it wrong like 100 times. If that's not right. But I would, I don't know. Let's just not go too far down that road.
I don't think there's no way he's leaving this bad of a season. Like, I could see him like say there's a 11-1 season, or like next year they make the playoffs but they don't win it. I think you could walk away from that. But like,
I agree.
He is not going to walk away with this bad of a season. No,
I think I'm inclined to agree. Like, I won't even, it's like the old, like, when you're shooting hoops, you never walk off on a miss, right? No. It's very much Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter. There we go. Oh, I've been saying it wrong now for 3 weeks. So great. Good on me.
Juniper, Florida.
Texas Rocks, Alabama clearly better off with Milroe. This QB experiment was just stupid. Saban should fire Reese and tell him to take his quarterback with him. I mean, the Bama fans are furious at the Notre Dame.
I think that's a real question, though, after the season. Like, is Tommy Reese going to be back next year? I mean,
I've heard once Saban turns on you, and this was old Saban when he's maybe a little more fiery. Like, the old urban legend around LSU was there was like one seat in the meeting room. I can't remember if it was like immediately to his right or his left, but there was like one seat in the meeting room where every year that guy was fired. Like every year, whoever sat in that seat, he became just like something about him just stood out in Saban's mind. And like Tom Reese has got to be careful here because he's looking less like a Wunderkind and more like a Poonderkind.
Yeah.
All right. So look, I'm fascinated. I'm going to have to watch more film on Ole Miss before I make a Bama Ole Miss call. But it's crazy how much juice Ole Miss actually has going in at T-Town. In fact, you're an Ole Miss fan listening, you want to get tickets to the game this weekend in Tuscaloosa, you want to download the Game Time app, okay? It's the best way to get any tickets to any games. The fastest growing ticketing app in the entire United States. And it could be last minute, guys. Like, you just show, Friday night, you're like, F it, dude, let's drive over there. You hop on the app, download Game Time. You get amazing deals. It could be college. It could be pro. It could be baseball games. It could be concerts, comedy shows, whatever. Download the Game Time app. Redeem code SNAPS for $20 off your first purchase. So if you do want to take advantage, and there's a ton of great games to choose from this weekend, SNAPS, SNAPS, $20 off your first purchase. Of course, terms apply. So download the Game Time app, enter code SNAPS, $20 off. No matter where you live, get out and have some fun this week. Download Game Time. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Huge thank you to the Game Time app for sponsoring Snaps here. Will T-Bob shave the beard at LSU, lose Alabama? No fucking chance.
Yeah.
I've done
the hair.
I've done two beard bets ever on radio, and I got lucky enough to win them both. I ain't doing that, bro. My wife's one nightmare she had before
after what you've seen from LSU and what you've seen from Alabama, you ain't willing to put something on the line.
I'll put something on the line. I don't think I'll put my beard. My beard is my like self-esteem. Would you put your self-esteem on the line? Like, I don't know, dude. The only nightmare my wife had before we got married is that I showed up clean shaven. That's a true story. I've tried not to think about it too much because, like, I don't know, that does nothing for your self-confidence. But yeah. Brum thinking there will be fire Saban talk if he's 8-4. No way. No. I mean, yes, okay, yes, and Brum says I'm not allowed to shave the beard. See, what the fuck's in the YouTube channel? Nobody's gonna watch anymore if they can't see this pretty face, dude. Okay. That's enough. Okay, you should get that rug groomed. Okay, relax, guys. Enough beard talk. Okay, it was a rough Saturday night, a very fun Saturday night.
I'll shave my beard if Missouri beats Georgia. I'll shave it down. I'll shave it.
Just like with a razor? It's already shaved. It's just stubble. You
That's
always
number
do
one on the guard.
I was gonna say you have the perfect amount of stubble all the time, dude.
Yeah.
It's impressive how you manage to pull it off. All right. Let's dive into a conversation that I really want to have. And we touched on it yesterday. But I hadn't really sat down and thought about it. We got a new AP Top 25 today. No great surprises. Oh, we should probably lead with the biggest topic of the day. Missouri should be ranked, Aaron, right? No, I'm fucking with you, Brum. Relax.
Yeah.
Who should be number one in the AP poll? And obviously the reason for asking this question is Georgia has looked all right. They've not looked overwhelmingly good. And then so you start. Okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Aaron. What does UGA do this year that is truly exceptional? Because the quarterback and the play caller feel all right. The defense is great, but not otherworldly, like we've seen recently. The weapons, which are supposed to be awesome, have been underwhelming, and they're dealing with injuries.
Yep.
Like, it's all the elements that you don't want to see if you're trying to three-peat and do something that nobody's ever done before. So so what do they do that's truly exceptional?
Well, I would go back to your first question. I mean, if there wasn't a ranking, like if there was say like, hey, we're not going to come out with the first season ranking until week 3, and we're just going to purely judge it, not off what you did last year, not off what you're returning, but what you look like through the first 3 weeks of the season. No, Georgia wouldn't be one. They wouldn't. I agree with you. Like there's, but they haven't had the opportunity to look really elite because they haven't played another team that is ranked or super high class.
Yeah, good for them. Lucky.
Yeah, good for them. Good for them. Hell yeah. I was watching Oklahoma tape today, and I was like, damn, Oklahoma looks pretty good right now. And I looked at their schedule, like, well, they also haven't played anyone. So that would have been great to see those two teams in week 2, because I do think Oklahoma is a much improved team, at least on film, against a bunch of, scrubs compared to what they looked like last year on both sides of the football. But I digress. No, Georgia has not looked like the number one team in the country at all. But this kind of goes back to what I said the other day, like who has been consistent enough in your mind to get that ranking? I would say there's been maybe one team that has been like, man, week in and week out has looked dominant.
Tell them.
It's your Huskies.
It's the Huskies, baby.
Your Huskies.
That's it. We're on the same page here, because I agree with you. Yep. Like Ohio State doesn't appear to have a quarterback. But you've been watching Ohio State film. You seem to like everything else they have.
I love everything else they have. Love everything else they have.
Penn State still feels a bit too conservative for me, dude. A bit too unthreatening. Texas looked amazing at Bama, but Bama might not be that good. And then Texas spins this last week and tied going to the 10-10 with Wyoming. And Wyoming's good. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, they're a solid football program. But if I'm going to put you number one, no. FSU 31-29 against Boston College. No one believes in USC's defense. And like Michigan, I could do it, but they haven't played anybody. Like if you haven't beat anybody with a pulse, and I don't want to give you credit. And so
Washington hasn't beat anyone either, but they've looked really good in all their wins. They've looked really good in all their wins.
But they also haven't played like no one necessarily. Maybe Tulsa's the closest.
It's true.
Like Boise's okay, and it's been consistent. 56-19 against Boise, 43-10 against Tulsa, 41-7 in East Lansing against Michigan State. Michael Penix Jr. leading the country 444 yards a game, 11.8 yards per attempt, 74% completion, 12 touchdowns to 1 pick. How about this, Aaron? We talk about weapons all the time, and you've really educated me on how good it feels and how much it helps to have great weapons. They have 3 receivers averaging over 100 yards a game. Adunze's at 139, McMillan's 103, and Jalen Polk's at 100 on the dot. How about that? That's crazy.
I think that the only thing should be giving anyone any sort of hesitation with Washington is they haven't really faced an offense, and they're not going to face an offense for another 3 weeks. Like Arizona, I like Delora, but like that shouldn't scare them too much.
I watched that. No, Arizona's offense booty.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's going to be versus Oregon, and they get them at home. But like that's the question. We knew this offense is going to score on everyone. There's no doubt about it. Like when you have a quarterback of that caliber with elite receivers, there's no defense that's going to be able to slow them down. It's kind of like what USC's done. It comes down to, can you stop anyone when you do face another quality opponent? So, But yes, like to me, if you would just judge solely the first 3 weeks of the season, regardless of opponent, Washington has looked the most consistent. They've looked like probably the only elite team in the country right now.
Yeah, they have, like you said at the beginning, you can't, because of how AP rankings work. I know people are like, well, why are we factored in last year? Well, you have to. I mean, it's how this all works, right? But if we were just objectively saying who's had the best 3 weeks in college football, I do think that would be the Huskies. And I don't know how this is going to play out, but what a good feeling if you're a Husky fan. If you're a Washington fan, chances are if you're around our age, you grew up with the Huskies being awesome, and then they kind of disappeared forever. I guess you're pretty good with Jake Browning and Chris Peterson.
Are you just down on you? I think you have this negative image of USC in your mind. And I think USC's defense is better, and I would say USC's offense is better too. Like I think USC should be in the discussion too.
I am guilty.
What Caleb Williams has done to start the season with those weapons, with that freakish, freshman receiver / returner. With their running game, Marshawn Lloyd looks like 10 times better than he did at South Carolina a year ago. I would take USC over Washington right now. We don't talk about them enough.
Well, okay. So, yes, I think there's a bit of bias coming in here where I am a bit guilty of just completely dismissing USC, despite not really having watched that much past week one. And in fact, if you look up, and you look at all the national rankings for quarterback, the only higher rated quarterback than Michael Penix Jr. is Caleb Williams. And I know you watch a ton of quarterback film, and you are always talking about how Caleb Williams is even better this year. The only thing, so I think what the problem with our guest, what hurts him in this conversation is Washington has been big and bright and flashy. And like I said, it's 440 yards a game. Like it's overwhelming. It's like a giant blinking neon sign. Whereas Caleb Williams has been like, it hasn't needed to be. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's been more efficient. It's like 287 yards. He still has 12 touchdowns. He has
580 yards a game right now.
No, I know he does
580 yards on offense.
But I think that speaks to a better team. That probably speaks to a better team in USC.
But I also think it's like, Washington was great last year. And I do think that there's for people that really know football, there was an expectation that Washington was going to be an elite offense once again this season. But I still think it's brand bias. Like we look at USC and we think Lincoln Riley and we see Caleb Williams, Heisman Trophy winner, and we're not surprised by the numbers. I still think people look at Washington and forget that they were that efficient on offense last year because not a lot of people watched Washington football. So they're still like, oh my God, look at Washington put up all these stats. Like, yeah, they should be. But I still think in people's mind, once again, it's more of a surprise to see Washington dominating. And people just assume it's USC and Lincoln and Caleb. So yeah, it's kind of the normal thing that should be happening.
Oh, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. And look, man, people like the underdog. USC's LA and it's glitz and it's glamour. And who wants to see Los Angeles have more success? Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, it's like if you're for a lot of the country, you don't like fucking New York City. You don't like Los Angeles. They already have enough. They're already so up their own ass. Like Washington's like a plucky, kind of like the plucky little brother or something. So no, they're just easier to cheer for. Who's like threatened by Washington? I mean, you should be from a pure football stance. You should be from, but I just mean like nobody hates the brand.
They're
of
the
Washington
good guy.
Yes,
you want your daughter to date them.
Unless you're a Wazoo fan, if you're from Pullman. And shout out Washington State. Respect as well. The whole state's playing football right now. Flying high SPT. What up, dude? He says Texas almost lost to Wyoming. It was 10-10. I'm not even here's my other thing. I'm not dinging FSU. I'm not really dinging Texas. I get all the extenuating circumstances that lead to a kind of
you'll ding Georgia though. You'll ding Georgia though, but not the other schools.
Well, because I think FSU has an elite quarterback. I think FSU has elite everything. I think Texas, you're the one that convinced me, has an elite quarterback. If you want to change your mind on Quinn Ewers, feel free. Like, out of the three quarterbacks on those teams, who's first, second, and third? Rank him for me. Texas, Alabama, Georgia, rank the quarterbacks. Okay.
Quinn, Travis Carson, based on their play.
Okay. Oh, exactly. Okay. So you want me to just sit here and give the credit to the team that doesn't have the best quarterback? It doesn't look like they can really run the ball. And I get out of here. But yes, I will think Georgia also because, like we always talk about, y'all are dealing with different sets of expectations. FSU and Texas are exciting. Georgia's old, and they've been there, and they're going to be judged against 2 national championships. Whereas, Florida State was happy to win 10 games last year. Now Texas still hasn't done that, but I think they'll get there this year. So good on him. DiVincenzi says FSU's shown they have the highest ceiling. It's hard to argue against Texas. I don't know. I don't think I can answer that yet. And also, there's been a lot of, throughout chat and all the time recently, a lot of, they haven't played anyone. They haven't played anyone. Well, that's why this weekend is so great.
Yeah.
Because people about to start playing. All right, let's talk about everybody's
When's Texas, Oklahoma? We get 3 weeks before that? 3 weeks? I'm telling you, I like Oklahoma. Brum, why does the computer love Oklahoma so much? Where are they at right now?
What are we talking, like S&P Plus? When you get our guy Colin Wilson.
I just got a chat.
By the way,
I got a chat that the computers love Oklahoma from Brumley, and I'm watching film this morning. I'm like, okay, I've yet to watch Oklahoma this year because they haven't played anyone. Let me just see what they look like. And like, dude, they were hitting on defense. They were flying to the football. They were making plays on that side. Dylan Gabriel was dicing teams up. I'm like, wow, like this is night and day from a year ago. Like, are they a better team than Texas? No, but they should be more competitive. Ryan says they're the top 3 in all the main computer polls. Interesting.
So I think that I'd love to pick Colin Wilson's brain on Oklahoma this Friday, our new gambling guy. Because, by the way, his system loved Florida money line and loved Mizzou money line. How about that? 2 bets that a lot of people thought were crazy, and look what ended up happening. DiVincenzi has a pretty good point here. Not the highest ceiling. 30. And he's talking about FSU. 31 straight points against the LSU team that's supposedly better than Alabama, who Texas beat. I get how you're getting there with the law of transitive sports properties. All I'm saying is, we talk about being sustainably good. Both Texas and FSU to me look great on the lines of scrimmage. Both have elite weapons.
Yep.
Both have great quarterbacks. I think, though, actually, does Florida's secondary maybe push them over the top? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Whatever. State. Yes, Florida State. Yeah. These questions will be answered in time. I did want to talk about Prime a little bit because there's something interesting going on, Aaron, where the cool factor for Prime is so overwhelmingly badass right now that it's leading to conversations that should be ridiculous or feel ridiculous, but actually aren't, right? Like we had it the other day. Should Deion Sanders go to Florida? Should Deion Sanders take over for Nick Saban at Alabama? Like, that's a legitimate conversation that so it does beg the question. If I were to ask you, how would you answer this? Is Deion Sanders one of the best coaches in college football?
Yes.
Full stop.
Yes.
Top 10?
Yes. Top 10. I don't know if I want to put him in top 5. I don't know if I want to put him in top 5 yet. But I go at it in this mindset right now, T. Mm-hmm. If I'm starting a football team tomorrow, and I've been promoted to athletic director of X University, Snaps University. Yeah. Who do I want as my head coach? Deion's probably my top 5 list right there.
So that's an interesting way to frame it, because if you do frame it like that, it's like, absolutely. I mean, the turnaround.
He actually may be my number 2.
Yeah,
he may be my second coach I pick.
I mean, Kirby would be 1. I think we'd all agree on that.
I think Deion's 2.
It doesn't feel so. Okay, so here's the only thing I have trouble with is
does it? I think does it matter? Does it matter? Depending on the university, like I think he's perfect for Colorado right now because Colorado was 1-11 last year, doesn't have a big brand, so it allows him to shine. Would the Deion brand be powerful at Ohio State, at Alabama, or does the brand Ohio State, Alabama outshine Deion? Like, would it make a difference? He's needed at Colorado to shine a light on Colorado.
No,
is he needed at those other brands? Like, would all that glitz and glam and look at me, like, would that even work at a bigger school?
I think, look, Deion's charisma works anywhere. Anywhere. People like confident people, that like charismatic people. So like that works anywhere. Does it mean as much to those other schools? No, because people already always talk about Alabama, right? So like it changed Colorado to the point where Colorado, Nebraska at noon beat Texas, Alabama at night in the ratings. And you could say, well, not when you add in the McAfee numbers. When you add in the McAfee numbers, they beat him by 0.03 million. So miss me with that bullshit. My point. So it had a greater impact there in Colorado, but no, he plays anywhere. He'd be successful anywhere. The one question I have, once he gets past Shedeur, can he find and develop another elite quarterback? Because Shedeur incredible. And quarterback is everything in this game, and it makes all the difference in the world. And Shedeur is next level good. Again, his own Elway moment, 98 yards at night in Boulder, with all the narrative of, my mom raised you better than me, hanging over his family's head. And he put it on for the Buffs. He put it on for the Sanders family, and they found a way to win the game. So once you lose that guy, can you still be elite? Because look, objectively, elite on the HBCU level, the best coach of the country on the HBCU level, objectively, done something that I don't think anybody else in the country have done with the Power Five with Colorado this year. My only question is, once Shedeur is gone, can you still find and develop an elite quarterback?
The hard part is you were able to get,
but I do think he's top 10, unquestionably.
But I think the hard part was he was able to get him to Colorado because he was his son. Will there be another elite quarterback that is willing to go to Colorado? And this begs the question of how long is Deion going to stay at Colorado, and will Shedeur stay another season? Like if Shadeur's like, you know what, I know I'm a top 15 pick, but I'm not going to be a top 2 pick when it comes to quarterbacks. I think a lot of us kind of feel like it's going to be Caleb and Drake. If I know I'm going to be the number 1 pick in the draft next year, I get to come back and play with Travis again and my dad for one more season, and then go to the NFL and be the number 1 pick, then you're on the timeline that we've talked about for Deion, the timeline of Deion's going to stay because Travis Hunter's there. He has 2 more. He has this season. He has next season.
Yeah.
He can't transfer again. Deion's not going to leave his boy.
No, that'd be fucked up.
I do think if he has 2 successful seasons, like if they're a 7-win team this year, 8-win team, if Shedeur comes back next season and say they're in the Big 12, which is now Texas and Oklahoma less, and say they win the Big 12 or a 10-win team, Deion's out. And then he goes to a better university. He'll be able to recruit a big-time quarterback. He'll be able to get a big-time quarterback out of the transfer portal. So I think to me, it's he needs to convince Shedeur to stay 1 more year. And then he's got to go somewhere that's a big enough brand to get a rock star quarterback that obviously isn't his son that can just tag along.
It sounds crazy, but if I was Shedeur, I mean, the quarterback market is so full this year. Like, you're making money, you're playing with your brother, your dad, like, it would seem like there's a lot of incentive to want to come back and to want to come back. Cause like there's a million quarterbacks coming out this year. Maybe, you can
you'll be in an easy conference. You'll be probably the best team in the conference. You give Deion 1 more offseason to hit the portal to make the team run you better. Because
now too, remember the one thing that was missing that all the recruiting boys were mad at Deion about before the year was the high school recruiting had not really hit yet. Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it does. Ryan Brumley in our chat saying Colorado was the most watched game week 3 despite starting at 10 Eastern. I mean, bro, by the way, this is kind of a shameless plug for a fellow volume show, but also I would not talk about it if I didn't objectively love listening to it. And I don't listen to a lot of other sports stuff. Ocho and Unk, their NFL recap show with Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco is the funniest fucking shit I've ever heard. Ocho Cinco is one of my new media muses. He's quickly gaining a seat next to like Jack Black and Chris Farley in terms of guys that I look up to. But the point of this is they're doing an NFL recap show. How did they open the show for the first 10 minutes? Talking about Colorado State and Prime and everything else. So yeah, yeah, and I agree with Mario's crystal ball. Like, I think he could land a big-time quarterback in Colorado. But again, Shedeur Sanders is a step above a big-time recruit. You can get a big-time recruit, but will that recruit actually end up being good? Because Shedeur Sanders is legitimately great, and he remains great. And that's my only question.
I think you have to hit the portal. You have to hit the portal.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you can't do what Alabama did.
You can't do what Alabama did. Well, Alabama also hit the portal, just didn't work out extremely well. You have to hit the portal. Like if Deion wants to stay at Colorado, I think the next quarterback after Shedeur has to be a portal quarterback as you continue to build the brand. But I think the hard part too is like once again, you're moving to the Big 12. Big time football for a lot of these kids is going to be the country's only going to want to talk about the SEC and the Big 10. True or false?
Well,
like, are you if you're a top quarterback in the country,
dude.
do you really want to go to the Big 12?
I mean, I don't know.
Do you want to go to the Big 12? No, you're not going to want to go to the Big 12.
I'm not sure.
If you're worth your salt, you're going to want to go to the SEC or Big 10.
I would say this. I'm feeling a little insecure nowadays about trying to predict the future and the ripple effects of all these massive changes, because I didn't have the Pac-12 as looking like the best conference so far this year. I didn't have the SEC looking shitty. I didn't have the strengthening of the middle class that we've seen where, like we talked about, the group of five is losing guys upward. The elite teams are losing guys downward. Like, college football is evolving in ways that I can't fully grasp or understand. So I see your logic behind that statement. I don't know, though. I don't know that I agree with it, because there's still going to be plenty of playoff room for Big 12 teams and for ACC teams. And so I don't know. I get why you're saying it, because it is a bit like a Premier League, between the SEC and the Big 10, but we'll see. Do we even know what's going to happen to Oregon State and Washington State yet? That still pisses me off. These teams are so good. These teams are so good. Someone save them.
Well, the Mountain West, I think, wants them. I think that's like they're resisting going to the Mountain West so hard right now. I think that's where they're going to end up being, though.
The Mountain West is also definitely like big dogging him too, being like, okay, now in your time of need, you come to me, the Mountain West. Okay, you bitch. So yeah, I mean, look, we're in agreement here on snaps. I think he's a top 10 coach. I think for like it's weird because, like you said, if I'm hiring, he would be top 5 of the discussion, easy. If we're talking legacy, obviously you got to build out more of that legacy before we get you that. Look at this. Henry Price's number 1 2025 quarterback was on campus this week in Bryce Underwood. You know who else was? The Rock. You know who's probably
Little Wayne.
Well, yeah, little Wayne. Yes, little.
I would love to go for a visit. Who wouldn't want to go to a visit to Boulder, Colorado now and enjoy it? Yeah. Doesn't mean you're going to commit, but I'm just going to take my free visit to Boulder, knowing that it's going to be celebrities everywhere. Hell yeah, I'm taking that trip. Now he's got to find a way to get that guy to commit. That's whole nother ball game.
And if you like mushrooms and weed, there's not a better college to go to. Also, super high median income, highest in the country, I think. All right, Aaron Murray, it is Monday, which means it is time for our top 5 quarterbacks of the weekend. I wish we had like some NFL films music here that we like. I know. But okay, Aaron. So is this in order, or is this just the top 5 performances?
This is what's the difference between your question you just asked? These are the top 5 quarterback performances of week 3.
Well, because I'm saying, like, is number 1 greater than number 3? Have you ranked them in value, or is this?
I have ranked them in value.
Okay.
Yes, okay. We'll start from 5 and work our way to 1. So this is the 5th best, and we'll work our way to the best quarterback play of the weekend. All right, number 5, Dillon Gabriel, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Looking super good there for the Sooners. Number 4, I got Shedeur Sanders.
Hold on. Dillon Gabriel. So, yeah. Okay. 6-17 against Tulsa. That was better than what Washington did against Tulsa. We're giving him a little credit. Okay, Gabriel, I see.
28 of 31, 5 touchdowns. Pretty good. Pretty damn good. For Shedeur, I think Shadeur's been on my list every week this season, and he deserves it. I mean, he keeps upping it. To do a 98-yard drive and then win in double overtime, I don't care who the opponent is, takes some pretty big balls. Plus the stat line was phenomenal. 348 yards, 4 touchdowns. Number 3, Michael Penix Jr. Another great game on the road versus Michigan State. Probably right now the front runner for the Heisman Trophy. Number 2, your boy Jaden Daniels.
What's up, dog? We back. 30 of 34, 360 through the air, 2 touch, 60 more on the ground with 2 touchdowns.
I still think LSU, if they did a rematch, I think they'd beat FSU. I think LSU is the better team. All right, number 1.
I would whatever. Yeah. I would argue against that.
The better team.
But I think LSU's still better than how we all kind of ding them maybe after week 1. But we'll see.
I agree. I think they're a top 10 team in the country, and they're going to work their way up there when a couple of those teams lose. This weekend. We'll have one team lose, so they'll be moving up. And then number 1, Brumley was so happy when I put him at number 1. I mean, he was like jumping for joy. Brady Cook at Missouri. I don't know if I believe the rumors. I guess they're not rumors because Eli Drinkwitz said this, but he said people were booing Brady Cook because they want this other quarterback this baseball.
I mean, you know
player
this,
to be the
Aaron. The backup quarterback's the most popular guy in town, and
dude, I was
that's
getting ripped.
rule.
I was getting ripped by Missouri fans, and I had them on Thursday night, their first game, and I was talking good about Brady Cook, and Missouri fans are just so mad at me. We don't want him as our quarterback. We don't believe in him.
Wow.
I'm like, I will tell you this right now, Missouri fans out there, because I went to practice on that Wednesday. It was a Thursday night game. And this Sam Horn kid, big kid, he's a baseball pitcher. Throws like 95 miles per hour.
Damn.
If you didn't know who was who watching practice, you would have thought Brady Cook was the baseball pitcher that could throw 95 miles per hour. It does not translate to the football field for Sam Horn throwing the football. It is weird. Brady Cook is your guy, had a tremendous game and a huge win, man. The biggest win for Eli Drinkwitz in his tenure there at Missouri.
61-yard walk-off, though Drinkwitz really fucked up the clock management at the end.
Yeah.
But who cares? 61-yard walk-off. Hell yeah. Brady Cook, you look up now, Aaron. 72% completion on the year.
Yep.
250 a game, 10 yards per attempt, 5 touchdowns, no picks.
And he's barely run. He really didn't run for the first 2 games. Did a little bit more this last game. But like that's a huge part of his game from last season that, once that gets cooking, Luther Burden's a savage. Theo Weiss looks good. Mookie Cooper looks good. This is a good football team.
Yeah, to Burden, and then I think
maybe the second best team in the SEC East right now.
Yeah, and so you finally got Burden going. 7 catches, 114, 2 touchdowns.
Finally got him going. He's been going all year.
Yeah, he has been actually. Never mind. He's had at least 7 catches, like 100 yards every game.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Aaron. Don't call me out. Okay. Just say, yeah, T-Bob. That's right. Thank you.
No, I'm not.
So there it is. Your Aaron Murray top 5 quarterbacks. Another very exciting weekend of college football here. Can't wait to do it again this week because now, boys, we in it. Okay. We got about 7,000 ranked games to break down over the next couple of days. We are about to launch out of they haven't played anybody season, and I cannot wait to be here for it. And we want you to be here for it on Snaps. Okay, so Snaps Podcast, if you Google it, Apple, Spotify, you already know the deal. Rate it, review it, all that good stuff. YouTube.com/@volume-snaps. Hit the like button, subscribe if you like the show, right? I mean, if you don't, that's cool.
If you like it, do whatever. Just send us some love on social media. Say what's up. Jump on our Twitters at Aaron Murray 11 at whatever you are.
T-Bob 53. TBOB 53. I think on like Instagram, like an 80-year-old grandpa, I'm like T-Bob J. Hebert. Fucking loser. Yeah, man, look, we love doing this. Okay. And so when y'all help grow the show, that helps us convince people to continue to let us do this. So y'all the absolute best. We love you. And unfortunately, Brian Hall, you are correct. Georgia still isn't going to be playing anyone, but everybody else except for Georgia, Michigan are about to exit the conversation of they haven't played anyone yet. And I can't wait to see it. Huge thank you to everybody hanging out in the chat. Remember, these YouTube lives are going to be on Mondays. We recap the weekend. So much fun having you all here. And we will see you tomorrow for a brand new episode of Snaps.